A former Nevada Supreme Court judge is suing Real Water over the death of her husband. Abby Silver says she resigned from the court to care for her husband, who developed ALS after drinking the contaminated water. In a lawsuit filed in Clark County District Court, Silver alleges that her husband, Kirk Jaster, was diagnosed with the disease in February of 2022 after drinking Real Water. Before that, in February of 21, the FDA found hydrazine in water samples taken from the Real Water facility in Henderson. Hydrazine is known to cause ALS. Silver claims her husband had no other chemical exposures known to cause ALS. The lawsuit also points to other documented medical cases found to be connected to contaminated Real Water, including cases of liver failure. Silver's asking the court for more than $50,000 in damages. Now, this is far from the first lawsuit filed against Real Water. The family of a Boulder City man, Milo Hurst, sued the company after they say he died of liver failure from drinking that water. Other lawsuits resulted in billions of dollars in settlements to people who got sick or lost family members. The company has since shut down.